You wanna grab a bite?
Because that's probably the easiest thing I can say is take off that pause in the middle. It's like grab a bite. Can you do like grab a bite?
You wanna grab a bite?
I don't think you need to go as high with the did. Do you want to grab a? I would keep that first. Pretty much almost every word I would keep at a slightly lower pitch, and then on bite, that's my opportunity to go up a little higher in terms of pitch. Do you want to grab a bite?
You wanna grab a bite?
In terms of linking, I think you're doing some good things with linking.
Do you wanna like so you can hear that do you wanna and then wanna also has some link in there too, right? Wanna and then grab a. You could probably weaken the B sound a little bit. It doesn't need to be like grab a, it could be more grab a. Okay, one way you can try to soften that is to repeat it several times, like say grab a, like 3 times, like grab a, grab a, grab a, grab a, grab a, grab a. And if you find that you're saying grab a, grab a, grab a, and things like that, that's a sign that your B sound, your consonants are a little bit too strong. So you want to try to link those together a little bit more.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Cup of coffee. You took that really high at the end. It sounds like an innocent question, but almost with a little twist at the end. Coffee? It sounds a little suspicious. Like, what do you want to do exactly? What's your plan there? You could have just kept it at about the same level. Like, the stress you have on interest, kept the pitch at about the same level there instead of going extra height.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
I feel like I'm hearing interest versus interest. Is there a way? Can you get a little bit more short eye on that? Because I still feel like I'm hearing interest versus interest. And I think the big thing is that just sounds to me like your placement's kind of jumping up, and that's how you're gonna in versus n. Can I interest? Can I interest you? Can I interest you?
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
In a cup of. I do like your pitch change here. So notice that for this in a cup of. That part's lowering the pitches, and I think that's giving you a natural sound there.
Did you want to grab a bite?
Bite? Bite? Okay. If you want to grab a bite, the bite sounds just a little bit unique.
Did you want to grab a bite?
Yeah, I think the part of the issue is, again, using that higher pitch on wanna, I think can work, but it's causing some other parts of the sentence to use patterns that I think are less frequent and slightly less natural sounding. Versus, did you want to grab a bite? Did you want to grab a bite? I would have been curious to see how this sounded if we had kept the pitch lower on wanna, honestly. Like, if you wanted to raise the pitch on wanna, I think you could do something like that. Like, did you wanna grab a bite? Did you wanna grab a bite? I said, wanna grab a bite? Wanna grab a. Notice the pitch changes there, like wanna grab a. It's like grab doesn't quite get to the same pitch level as want. It's like wanna grab a. Did you wanna grab a bite?
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Kind of similar point here that we mentioned earlier with interest. You want to try to keep that more of this the short I sound for interest. So I still feel like I'm hearing a bit interest in versus n, just like the preposition in. Can I in versus can I in? Can I interest you? Part of this could be too that everything's a little bit high in terms of your placement.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Can I versus can I? So the first thing I would say is, hey, can we get this a little bit lower, a little bit more open? So starting from the beginning, like, can I? I said, can I? Can you do more? Can I interest you? Can I interest you? My recommendation is always go back to your schwa sound. I think going back to that schwa sound is the sound people are usually very familiar with. You start off with like your sounds, like and then transition to your other sounds. It's like or like I, and things like that.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Cup of coffee. So one thing, so what you're doing with of, notice that you're using some of that V sound to write cup of coffee. Okay. One thing that you'll often hear, like a cup of something, a lot of times that V sound will actually get removed. So you're just left with like the vowel. It's like cup of coffee. Now there's nothing wrong with saying cup of coffee. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just kind of letting you know what are some other things that you may hear. Cuppa might actually be a lot more common than saying cup of coffee. Okay, it might actually be a little easier to say as well.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
If you wanted this to sound more genuine, like you're saying this to someone and you want you really want to invite them to this or things like this or for the coffee. I think your intonation right now is a little bit flat, so we need to just kind of raise it just a bit.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Is it coffee? More coffee? Can I interest you in a cup of coffee? So I think it's really all about that last word. I said coffee. that sounds kind of bored and uninterested, versus coffee sounds more like a kind of a genuine question.
And I totally understand recording something 5 times. You're just like, I'm done. I tried. I did the thing. It's over.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Can I interest? Again, I think a little bit with interest, kind of like we've seen with a couple people today. Just want to make sure that interest is having that low open sound. So again, I feel like I'm hearing interest versus again interest. So let's continue to watch out for that.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Cup of coffee. So again, notice that that the sound or that F sound on of typically is going to get removed completely, and it's just going to like you're just left with the schwa sound, just a cup of coffee, supernatural way of linking.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
I like your pattern here. Can I interest you in a cup of coffee? Can I interest you? Now, in terms of the rhythm, you know, where you're going high, where you're going low, I think this has a very natural progression. The placement, like we noted earlier, is a little bit high for can I interest, that part in particular. But in terms of the general movement and progression of the sentence, that's a very natural flow. I really do like that. A cup of coffee. I also really liked your intonation there on coffee.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Coffee. You know, not dragged out too long. A quick little rising intonation there to again show it's a question. Yes, no question. I like that movement. Pretty good. Okay, pretty solid work here. Just take a look at that first part for that placement.
Did you want to grab it by Josh, aka Fluent American? Also, can I offer you a cup of coffee? If not, it's fine. I'll just drink it myself. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha.
The laugh there was so like weak. Like not like a real laugh, but just like I enjoyed that. Quick note, Josh is the guy over at like again English Hacks. But I'll pass along the word. I'm Geoff.
Did you want to grab it by?
Did you want again kind of similar notes to what we saw in the previous audio too? Where see if you can get more short eye on did. I said did you can you do more did you
Did you want to grab it by Josh?
did you want to grab a bite, Josh? That's a little bit of a weird pattern there. Grab a bite, Josh. Did you want to grab a bite? You probably still want to have the rising intonation on bite. Okay, instead of that falling intonation. Instead of grab a bite. You want to grab a bite. Also a little bit tenser on the AKA.
AKA Fluent American.
AKA, you know, letters tend to be very difficult sounds for people to reproduce because a lot of people are, again, making them a little bit tenser, a little bit more closed off. Do you hear that, like, AKA versus AKA? Again, this is all about placement. A little bit lower, more air through your throat. Like now, things are getting blocked off. So you're getting like K versus K. Or for instance, you're getting E instead of A. So again, these are just some opportunities to kind of keep in mind with your letters. Being a little bit more open to let more air through. Okay. And also trying to lower your pitch just a little bit. Because right now it sounds a little bit high and a little bit tense.
Also, can I offer you a cup of coffee?
Can also again, that's again the high placement there on the end sound like can versus can. Okay, so again, a little bit lower, a little more open.
Also, can I offer you a cup of coffee?
Can I offer you? Can I offer? See if you can join that together a little bit more. Can I offer? That notice how weak that the end sound is, right? Can I offer? Okay. I'm not actually making contact with the top of my mouth. I'm actually keeping my tongue pretty low. Can I offer?
If not, it's fine.
Fine. Okay. This is something that we see a lot with the letter N when it links with vowels, is what a lot of people are doing is they're adding a vowel sound before the N. It's like fine versus fine. You want your vowel sound to go right to your N. Don't add a vowel sound before it. Okay. So you don't want to say fine. It's more fine.
I'll just drink it myself. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha.
Okay, raise the back of your tongue, but also the middle and the front. Okay, try to get more air through your throat, though. So it's not self; it's more self. If you're ever like saying something and you feel like people aren't understanding what you're saying, here's just a quick checklist of things you can kind of run through to see if these are the reasons why people don't understand you. The first thing is that maybe you're just using the wrong vowel sound. Like maybe, for instance, you use the ah sound instead of the schwa sound. So people heard like lock when you wanted to say look. You know, so that's the very first thing. Another thing is that it could be that your words are running together a little bit too much. You know, we talk a lot about reductions and using reductions, and reductions are certainly necessary in your speech to get a more natural sound. But it can be that your reductions and your linking maybe aren't, there's not enough differentiation between your words. So everything kind of just jumbles together. Okay, so just make sure that, if you're reducing things, that there's still some clarity. The one issue with that could be causing the problems with your linking and your reductions is that there's not enough contrast. So if you're using reductions in your speech, if you're using linking, you want to make sure that you're using high pitches, but you're also using low pitches. To give you an example, let's look at a prepositional phrase. Like if you say like in the house, you don't want to say in the house, in the house, because that's really hard to understand. But if you do like in the house, notice that what I'm doing is I'm starting at my midpoint, then I'm going a little bit lower with the, and then I'm going back up with house, in the house, in the house. Having those sorts of progressions, inserting more lower pitches into your speech are some techniques that you can use to just help separate the words you're saying, so that way people have an easier time understanding you. Okay, it's not just about having higher pitches on your stressed words, it's also about having lower pitches on your unstressed words, and in terms of adding some clarity. Look at me staying hydrated. I'm so good. Z wants some slang. Oh, so not just talking about how to say significant, but she wants some slang words. Like, no, Geoff, give me some expressions. You can say like no big deal, like nothing major. Depending on a lot of these depend on context, but you say like like not worth mentioning. Like if, for instance, like if you get like hurt and you want to say like it's not that, it's not a horrible injury or anything. Like it's just, like you say it's a scratch, or just a scratch. In the sense of like just a little bit of something, like you could say like just a smidge. You could also say, for instance, like petty, minor, not the end of the world, no big deal. Can you drop the G? Can you drop the G sound altogether in the word insignificant? Just say insignificant. I think if you reduce it enough and you say it fast enough, you can probably get away with it. For clarity, you probably would still want to have just a very slight G sound, like insignificant. Like even there, insignificant. It's kind of like a insignificant. Like I think if you do that sort of like type sound, excuse me, almost like Italian, I think you can get away with.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee? So yeah, I like your rhythm. Your heaviest stress is on coffee, which I like. I like the can I interest you? I like that part.
Can I interest you in a cup of coffee?
I like your short I sound on interest. This has been a difficult word for a lot of people today, but I like your short I sound. I think it sounds pretty good. Cup of coffee. I like your linking there with a cup of coffee. Interest you in a cup of coffee. But yeah, I like what you're doing. Great stuff there.